So, how disappointing was Jimmy's revenge game, Paul?
It was very disappointing. When you look at the circumstances, the Warriors are trying to stay out of the play-in. They're only a half a game as of today out of the play-in. So a game that they need, a game where Jimmy needed to come up big, especially with Steph Curry being out, I was a little disappointed. But then again, these revenge games, they could be mentally draining and kind of like sometimes it's just emotional. And, Jimmy does a good job of not showing it, but it's emotional when you go back to the place where they probably should retire his jersey one day where he had his best years. Just to be able to go back there and play again, it's tough because, you start reliving, you start seeing the fans that you've been knowing in the front row for so many years to probably develop a relationship. You probably the night before went to a restaurant you always used to go to, so it gets emotional when it's not there for you anymore. But being that was what was at stake, it was disappointing for me.
Did the schedule have anything to do with it, perhaps? Because the Warriors did get to Miami at 2 a.m. Sunday morning.
Yeah, that could be a factor. Or South Beach, a number of things.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
2 a.m.?
The South Beach flu.
Hey, stuff open all night, man.
No, but I'm saying they got off the plane and went.
Stuff is open all night, brother. I didn't get off the plane.
He's saying yes.
No, I know what he's saying.
You get off the plane and go straight there.
I speak Paul very well.
You can still go to Wet Willie's at 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Not Wet Willie's.
Wet Willie's Hooters. Someone's fun.
2 a.m. Sunday morning is,
crazy.
What?
To get off a plane and go, I couldn't.
Because you probably won't have
Sprinters were at the hotel, first of all. Okay, they were at the hotel.
Wait.
Am I lying?
Or
they were at the hotel. Or at the plane. Or at the plane.
We're trying to save some time.
For efficiency. And
yeah, save some time. Yeah, I used to have them at the plane.
And you had a whole day.
Yeah, I guess.
Then you probably won't have shoot around. You'll have shoot around at the arena.
South Beach flu is a thing. I'm just saying.
No, it seems that way.
It's a fun city.
I don't know what it was, but this game was not highly anticipated by Jimmy Butler the way it looked. And I don't know whether it was the booze and he was a little bit surprised.
I don't know if they went out, by the way. I'm only pointing out the schedule of the Warriors. I have no sources.
If we're playing percentages,
whatsoever.
High percentage.
All I did was read the schedule.
Yeah. No. I don't know whether it was South Beach. I don't know if it was the booze that he was a little bit surprised that the reception wasn't quite as warm as maybe he had hoped.
Oh, the booze, not the booze.
I don't think he expected.
Oh, booze or boobs? What?
But she thought you said booze.
Boo! I thought you said booze.
Like the drink.
With a Z.
Drinks.
With an S, not a Z and an E.
No, booze.
All right, we're clear on that.
Boo you.
Maybe it was
alcohol. Whatever it was.
Yeah. Maybe it was Bam Adebayo having to face him. I mean, that's the worst matchup Jimmy could have possibly had. Maybe it was Pat Riley, the Godfather, in the stands, letting him know I'm right here, front and center. I don't know what it was, but I was disappointed because Jimmy looked almost as if he didn't want to be there. I just want to get through this. And to Paul's point, every game matters, and you didn't have Steph Curry there. And so he needed to bring his A game, and he clearly did not.
Yeah, a lot with Paul. So when you talk about disappointing, I really wasn't disappointed because, like Paul was saying, when you get put in these situations, there's so much. We're joking about South Beach flu, and we're joking about late night partying and hanging out, and whatever the case may be, those are jokes. But there's so much that you go through when you facing your old team, especially for the first time.
For revenge games.
For revenge games. Yeah. You just, leading up to it, you're talking that trash. Like you said, you led into this particular segment talking about, I don't have anything to say to Pat Riley. That's been on your mind. That travel from the west to the east or south, that was on your mind the whole time. Man, if I see that, I ain't even think about it. It's going to be in your mind. And when you go out there, you're not loose. You're tight. Everything is just tight. You're seeing different faces, things of that nature. I would have liked to have seen him play much better. Now, if there was a second time around, I could almost guarantee you he would have played better. I faced the Jets for the first time when I was traded from them. Faced them, 1 catch, 1 yard. 1 catch, 1 yard. My mind was just, I was out there trying too hard, just trying, worried about the wrong things. But then when I faced the Bucks the second time around, I put in work. So it's just, it's one of them things. Oh, stop.
How's the kids?
No, stop. No, it happens. And y'all better not pull that up. If you do, you're going to be working somewhere else again. Mo.
But here's the thing. This wasn't Jimmy's first revenge game. I mean,
but it's the first revenge game
with Miami. I know, but he's been through this before.
Right.
Not like this.
He left Chicago and went to Minnesota. He left Minnesota and went to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
He went from Philadelphia to Miami.
How did he leave?
But it don't matter how he left, Rick. This is his most significant time in the league to where he really made a real name for himself in Miami.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, they go two
He went from Jimmy to Hemi.
He had his best years.
He had his best years
in
there.
Miami.
So, like, to go in that locker room and you're not in your locker room, because I remember the first time when I went back to Boston, I was in the other locker room, it just felt funny.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, I'm so used to being across the hall. This don't even seem right.
It's just, there's a lot mentally and emotionally that you go through as a player the first time back.
Sure.
And your exit from Boston wasn't bad.
Yeah, mine wasn't bad.
These are bad feelings still.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
this is new, raw, and it was bad.
And you know, with the Miami Heat, like whether it's putting Bam on him or the way they played collectively, they didn't want Jimmy to get off. Like there was an order
from upstairs. It was like he's not getting off.
Yes,
Yeah, no matter who,
what everybody else
do,
we might lose, but he ain't gonna be the reason.
And that was the same way the Jets were with me. No matter what,
That probably came from the guy.
he ain't beating us.
No doubt.
We'll take an L. It just won't be because he had a big game.
Right.
Yep.
Well, what does Jimmy have to do to justify his Heat exit, Paul?
Well, I think he's already done it. You know, when you sign that extension that you were seeking in Miami, you're playing with Steph Curry, and you're saying this culture over here is probably a little bit better than Miami Heat culture. That's it. He found his joy for the game again. Because if you remember, he said he's lost his joy.
Mm-hmm.
That's big for a player. When you lose that joy, because I remember I had one period in my career. It was when Doc got there, maybe the first year with Doc and things. It was a short month period. I really lost my joy for the game because things was changing. It was my role. She was trying to change my role up, and we weren't winning either. And then when you get it back, it feels amazing. And so he got his joy back. He got his extension. He's playing with one of the greatest players, one of the greatest franchises. I think he's already justified it.
Paul's right. Money. That's justified. You didn't want to give me my money early on, and then after we lose to the Knicks, you talk negative about my response to why we lost to the Knicks, and you talking crazy about me, and you don't think I can stay healthy, and all of the things. You know what? Never mind, man. Because Golden State think I'm healthy, and they just gave me another $100 million. So bye-bye. It's justified.
Well, I mean, is he sharing that with all of us, the money? I'm saying what from his, obviously they play to make money, and he personally wanted those things, and he got the things that he wanted.
So
but as far as his career goes, like, what would justify this move? Because is he just playing for money at this point?
Well, let's go.
Because
State
to me,
makes a nice run.
To me,
happiness
getting
is a
to
thing.
it.
Happiness is a thing.
Well, yeah, and I hope that everybody is happy and is striving to achieve happiness and whatever they define that as. But we don't look at players and say, oh, they made $300 million in their career. They had a successful career. Like, that has nothing to do with us.
Of course he wants to win a championship, but there's only so many teams that are going to acquire your services in a trade because they need something back. So it wasn't like he could all of a sudden go to OKC. Because they wasn't going, what you want to check? The
Warriors is a pretty good landing spot.
Yes.
Absolutely. It is.
But they probably aren't going to win the NBA Finals this year.
Okay, but I see where you're going, Joy. And if the question is, like, how does he justify it to himself? Well, I got the money that I was looking for that I wasn't going to get in Miami.
Right, of course, he already won.
But then it's, how does he justify it in the big picture? And I would say it's, you better have more success with the Warriors than what Miami does without you in the next few years. Like, if the Heat turn this around quicker, then you're going to look at it and go, okay, Jimmy, you talked your way out of potentially a better situation that you had already had success in, and you jumped on a ship that, looks pretty good right now, but is actually on the way
they
down.
weren't going to extend them.
Right. Well, I don't mind that part. I don't mind that part because of your point. Like, he needed to get his money.
Yes.
But when you're talking about breakups, and often we don't find out for several years afterwards who won the breakup. You know, was it the team and they thought they were seeing things in the locker room and that we weren't? And okay, so they made the right choice. They now have success. They moved on from him and now they're having success. Or are they in the dumpster for years and they should have given him the extension? So I guess we can't answer that right now. But to me, he's got to have more success than he had in Miami.
But even still, though, Joy, it's not fair because the teams ain't going to never be the same. They going to acquire different people in Miami that they wouldn't have probably gotten had they signed Jimmy. All of a sudden...
Right, but that's the point, right? That's why they decided to move off of him.
No, but I'm saying if in fact, they decided to pay him, for instance, let's say they did pay him, and they just was the same type of team that they've always been.
Well, and look, I wouldn't say that they weren't going to extend him. They just weren't going to extend him at the number that he wanted.
So that means you're not going to extend me.
No, that doesn't mean that.
Yes, it does,
No, what it means is
because if I
see you as having this value.
But I don't see myself that way.
Okay, that's fine. But that's not necessarily on them. That doesn't mean we don't want to keep you. We just want to keep you.
You would certainly keep me at $20 million a year. You would do that.
Okay.
You would keep me at 20, but I'm not looking for 20.
Okay.
I'm looking for 60.
All right, but that's a
We're
different...
so far apart.
Let's not even have that conversation. But that's what these splits are about, right?
Yeah.
Like and then, like I said, years from now, we'll be able to see how this all played out.
Actually, we might see sooner than that because there is the fact, and Paul brought it up, that Jimmy got his way because he quit on the Miami Heat. There's no getting around that. And he now has to, I think, redeem himself to a certain extent, which he has so far with Golden State. But you can't, like, if things go south again and this happens again with Jimmy,
that's something different.
We're going to look at him in a different
that's
way.
something totally different. Let me ask you this, though, Paul.
Not that different.
Let me ask you.
Part of this equation.
Well, it's different, though. The reason, no, I'm saying the reason would be different because I don't honestly think that he would do this again.
He's already done it.
This is the last stop.
What you gonna do?
This could be the last
asking
stop.
for more money again?
What?
This may be the last stop. He's 35 years old.
Yeah, his age.
Like, he has 3 years. He'll be 38.
Okay, but how does it end?
They only put up with you for so long. You know, I started seeing a lot of older guys like this toward the end. This won't happen again for him. When you saw it like with guys like Iverson and Melo, what happened? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they start looking at you different.
See you later.
See you later because you're not the player you used to be.
Yeah.
And he won't be that at 38. He is today.
What I wanted to ask you, though, Paul, because Rick brought it up and you mentioned it several times before, when you talk about quitting on the team, do the players in the locker room, because I think the players in the locker room, they understood that the fact that he wanted his money.
Yeah.
And so
that was my thought, too.
Well,
that was your thought, right?
Yes, they understood.
That's fine.
But
it's fine. You can want your money, but don't quit on us. Like, me as a competitor, me as a guy who is a leader in the locker room, I get that. That's up. You handle that with him. But we've made a fraternity here, and we bust our butts every day in practice in the off seasons to be ready for each other. Don't just walk out on us because you're saying you have an issue. Mad at him. Not like, what did we do?
Yeah.
You quit on us, too. So it's bigger than one person.
But how unique is that, is your perspective on that in the league? Because I feel like there's been teams, there's been situations where there have been players who have what I thought, which is like, hey, it's a business. He's trying to get his money. I understand. I would do the same thing.
This is not a regular player. He's probably our captain, our leader. This is our leader walking out.
No, I understand,
like,
but
that's different.
I also think it just depends on how you rock with your teammates too.
Yeah.
Like
he only said what's up to Kevin Love.
No, but I'm saying it just depends on how you rock with your teammates. If you rock it with everybody in the locker room and they your guy,
it didn't look like it though.
They would understand what you're doing.
And towards the end of it, them getting asked about it, it didn't seem like everyone was on the same page.
So then they must feel a certain type of way.
Because it's not about everyone's money. And everyone deals with trying to get their contracts. Everyone deals with trying to get paid. It's not a unique situation just to one player. Yeah. So everyone deals with that. Everyone does negotiations. So
it was a combination of his money and his role.
Yeah.
His role was getting reduced. He was going to stand in the corner, so he wasn't feeling that either.
Yeah. Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.